I'm Jackie Pickering with the Ion Sports Network, and today we are joined by Adam Silver, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's truly an honor. Let's start off with the hard-hitting questions here first. Okay, first I want to address, can you tell us a little bit about your role with the NBA and what it is exactly that you do?
As the Deputy Commissioner of the NBA, I work for the Commissioner David Stern, of course, and I'm also the Chief Operating Officer of the league, which means I'm in charge of making sure the trains run on time, so to speak, that in the day-to-day operations, we get the schedule out, the telecasts go on the air, that we sell the sponsorships, all those things that go into running the business itself as opposed to playing the game on the court. Mm-hmm. That I don't do. I had a brief career as an athlete when I was younger, but never at this caliber. So we leave the playing to the players, but I run the business.
Tell us a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes, stuff that we don't see necessarily on camera.
Well, behind the camera, I mean, it's actually much more involved than some of you might think. I mean, for every player that's on the court, there are probably 10 employees at the NBA who are in charge of making sure that the business operates smoothly. I mean, everything from, as I said before, creating the schedule to putting out press releases to making sure that the merchandise that we sell in the stores is done properly, to making sure that the players' uniforms are constructed, and that we have lawyers who register the trademarks and protect our trademarks, the name Lakers, the name Knicks, in case there's people who are stealing our intellectual property somewhere. There's events that we put on, for example, the NBA draft. That takes hundreds of people to produce that event. There's the All-Star game, which we had recently in New Orleans a few weeks ago. That's a major production on the part of the NBA. So, when you're seeing the game itself played, in some ways that's like the tip of the iceberg. There's this underneath the surface, there's this huge enterprise that makes sure everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Now, I know one of the main slogans for the NBA is NBA Cares. What type of initiatives have you guys started or implemented beginning this year to help really bring the NBA to the community and, touch some of the lives that, maybe want to be there at the games but can't really, afford to or, be a part of it?
Right. Well, with NBA Cares, I mean, that's a program where we build learning and play centers, we call them, in communities, not just in the United States, but around the world. For example, we build playgrounds, we build computer centers, we build libraries, places where kids who may be NBA fans will see that NBA players, there's more to their lives than playing basketball. So they, of course, need to practice. They grew up in community centers, so we want to make sure that we have places that are safe for kids, that have the kind of facilities where, they can get the training to become better athletes, to become better citizens, to become better basketball players. So that's one aspect of the program. We also have players, so in addition to building facilities, we have players who go directly into the communities themselves, and they teach clinics, they work with kids on developing their skills as basketball players. They often teach reading and computer skills to players, because remember, our NBA players, many of them are multidimensional. They're not just athletes, but they're computer hobbyists. In fact, one of the players, Chris Bosh, who plays for the Toronto Raptors, I was recently with him in New Orleans, and he told me that when he was in high school, he built a computer from scratch.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I couldn't have done that.
Aside from those initiatives, what's the response that you've seen from the community responding to these sort of initiatives that you've started?
Well, the response has been incredibly positive. I would say, we just got back again from New Orleans, where our All-Star game was, and we invited all of our guests to New Orleans, including the players, including the team personnel, to participate in a day of service. And we had over 2,500 people working throughout the community of New Orleans. We built playgrounds. We built computer centers. We painted schools. Again, New Orleans is still recovering from Katrina, from the disaster there. And I think, the community really benefited from the hands-on activities of of sort of the larger NBA family. And I think people appreciated the opportunity to get directly involved.